Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Adam McBride. I'm here today representing approximately 14,000 construction craft laborers spread throughout the entire state of Missouri. What I did sitting back there is I pretty much struck almost my entire testimony. I think it's interesting, we have been all over this issue except for really the nuts and bolts of the issue. The most complicated part of this proposal is the way the wages are calculated and the expansion of the definition of maintenance fee construction. We've heard a lot about unions, we've heard a lot about safety, and of course all of that comes into play. I want to give one additional perspective. I spent quite a bit of time last night at the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. They've got some neat functions and tools available now. We've heard that their statistics are updated annually. The last data set available on these statistics is from May of 2012. Versus our state system, whether we think it's fair or compliant. For the record, the laborers will continue, even though that we were intricate in the negotiations over the past, 6, 7, 8 years on this very issue, on the changes that we have yet to see the impact of. Again, another reason why I think this bill is a little premature. 4, 5, 6 years down the road, if there's folks that still don't think they're seeing the changes necessary or something that adequately reflects what they truly believe is being paid in their county or in their locale or the county next to them that they may or may not represent, then I think it's time to sit down in a room like adults and have another conversation about what's working, what change impacted what part, how, right? And I think that we move on from there. That's the legislative process, and it usually works quite well. The one thing that I did, we talked about taxpayers. I worry about taxpayers. I worry about 14,000 taxpayers that I represent, and the additional 10,000 family members that oftentimes my members that had a household, male and female members. Those are the taxpayers that I care about. So let me give you the labor statistics that I brought down. So in all these counties other than 8 plus the city of St. Louis, we're going to do this new calculation. I am amazed though. We never in this building ever say that the federal government does anything better than Missourians do. But our system apparently is broken and flawed, so we're going to use the federal system that is not updated on an annual basis, much like our system. Again, I represent the laborers, so I will speak only on behalf of the laborers. We tier our rates, not because building a bridge in southeast Missouri takes any less skill or danger than building one across the Mississippi River into Illinois, but because there is a cost of living adjustment, and we do tier our wages, and our wages reflect. I picked 4 rural counties, and if you look at the BLS, what they do is they have a north region. This is the non-metro. The metro is basically what you guys have already, with the bill states we're not going to change. We're not messing with for the most part. They have a southeast, a southwest, a central, and a north region. So they group those counties together as if they're all one and the same. A laborer, Grundy County. Let's start over. I'm going to start with Mississippi County, which is southeast Missouri. Okay? My rate. Again, actually, let me preface this really quick. The BLS also does not include any type of fringe benefits at all. Even if you were an open shop contractor that had a matching 401k program, whether it's defined contribution, defined benefit, whether I offer dental care, a low level, or maybe even a high level health care program, okay? None of that data is collected. The survey goes out on a random basis from the United States Department of Labor to a random number of businesses in a state that voluntarily elect to fill that wage form out or not to. That's how this data is compiled. And it's only wage data, no extras. So with that said, I'm not going to include my fringes, but somebody may want to know them, and then we can go there too. I did some quick numbers. You also remember that in regular industries, a person that works 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, works on average 2,080 hours a year. That's how many hours they put in for a standard 9-to-5-er, okay, Monday through Friday. A good year for a construction worker. And again, I like what was said earlier. These aren't seasonal jobs. Does the weather affect their occupation when they can go? Hey, when it rains and they can't pour, guess what? They don't get paid. When the ground's frozen and they can't dig for that new pipe, guess what? They don't get paid. That's the nature of the industry. So $2,080 for a regular worker, 1,650 hours is a good year for a construction worker. 1,650. So I'm going to base it off that. If you think I'm a little low, fine. If you think I'm a little high, great. My numbers are going to be relatively close, okay? Based upon 1,650, my wage rate is $20.56 in Mississippi County. BLS is $14.09. That's just the wage, $14.09. Grundy County, which will be considered our North BLS area. My wage is $22.06, my workers. The BLS, $15.98. I'm gonna skip Lawrence County because it's my favorite, but I wrote it third on my list. Miller County, considered Central Missouri. My rate, $20.81. BLS, $16.61. And then we get to Lawrence County, which is Southwest Missouri. My rate is $19.83. BLS says that same guy's worth $10.82. And I think therein shows us the flaw of the data that the Bureau of Labor Statistics is providing us, which is why we have a state prevailing wage law, because there is no better mechanism. And I would argue that there was no reason for change last year. I signed off on it. I agreed with the change. It doesn't mean that we had everything we want either, right? I mean, that's part of this process that we call, legislation. And I'm anxious to see the fruits of all that work, what it does do, because in some areas it may have an absolutely drastic impact for my members who are taxpayers and our constituents. We're talking about members of your local Knights of Columbus. We're talking about men and women who coach Pee Wee football. We're talking about the Little League coaches, the guys that come and play, the ones that go to the local school plays, husbands, fathers, sisters, brothers, grandfathers, granddaughters. That's who I represent. I'm not some union head that just talks around and thinks that, everything I say is just because it was given to me on a sheet of paper. There isn't a day that I don't walk into this building and put those folks first. And we've told ourselves a tale of two cities today, now haven't we? We have the have, and we have the, well, you kind of got a little, but you really don't need that much. One of the worst phone calls that I ever got, we had a member who was working on I-55 south of St. Louis. And it was a couple days before Memorial Weekend. He'd been married 6 months. An optometrist thought he was going to be late for an appointment. Went around a moving barricade and struck three of my members. One of which pushed over the railing about 40 feet down on a set of railroad tracks. I think that his wife would tell you that it's worth more than $10 an hour. We just had a member die building the Blanchette Bridge crossing from St. Charles County to St. Louis County. They brought the entire bridge down to its superstructure. Guys standing on I-beams, tied off on a 9-foot tie-off, standing over the Missouri River, okay? One of our members died building that bridge. I can guarantee you his family thinks they're worth more than whatever number I threw out, $14.98 an hour. Because that project is just as dangerous in Miller County as it is St. Charles County. It's just the same building the bridge from Missouri to Nebraska as it is building it across over in Cape Girardeau. The nature of the work's the same. The risk is all still there. And it disgusts me, with all respect, that I've sat in this hearing room, not this specific one, but in this committee and heard nothing about how we're going to create prosperity for people. We're going to create prosperity for companies. I urge this body, this committee, Please think about these things in those terms, because that's truly that's what you're deciding on. $10 versus $18. $18 is not too much to pay a guy that's going to build a building that houses your children, what you hope, for the next 60 to 70 years, maybe 40 or 50. So with that, I appreciate the indulgence. I'm available for any questions. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Ramshaw, would you like to